So are you guys freshmen and sophomores? Or mostly just freshmen? Yes? Freshmen. I see some nods. Anyone not a freshman or sophomore?
I wish I was here as a freshman. I came as a junior. You guys are lucky. You'll be here longer.
This one going to take about 20 minutes. Anyway, so we're from the Law Society. My name is Moses. This is Crystal. Law Society in most schools is called the Pre-Law Society, but we decided to change the name for us because we thought pre sounds stupid. So it's just Law Society now. And our major focus is to be a resource-based club to help students explore aspects of law and law school in general. So we provide a lot of programming and events that fit those needs. That means guest speakers who are lawyers or policy makers, and now it works. Guest speakers who are lawyers or policy makers, LSAT practice events. LSAT is a test you do to get into law school, if you guys know, and MCAT is to get into medical school. And anything related to law whatsoever. Yes. Kind of. We're almost there. Thank you.
And I'm rushing him because I always have to like run off to something. Meeting at the prison tonight. Oh, one of the classes that you can actually take here at UW-Bothell is a mixed enrollment class that takes place at the Monroe Correctional Facility. So you go in every week, every Friday. It's kind of nice if you want a different kind of schedule because all the classes here are Monday through Thursday. So that class is on Fridays for 3 hours, and you actually go in every week and you're partnered with inmates that are in the prison, and you work on art projects that are socially engaging. It's fascinating. It's really interesting. It meets the community-based learning requirement as well, especially if you like art. I'm not an artistic person normally, but it's way deeper than that. You're actually talking about social issues and how art impacts those. So I am now a sponsor at the prison. Following that class, I became more involved, and I'm sponsoring a mentorship program there. So one of the things you can do at UW-Bothell.
So as I said, we're a resource-based club. We do networking events, trips to law school / the court. We have a lot of guest speakers, LSAT practice events, and we're also co-curricular. We often do things with Professor Gavin Doyle, if you guys know who he is. He has a class called Making a Legal Case, and so we help him out with certain events that helps fill out the rest of his class. Our story. So I'm going to skip myself because Crystal's in a rush. Crystal,
Okay, so I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about my path in coming to UWB. The main message I want to say is get connected. Get connected. You have so many millions of things going on around here that you can jump in that are interesting and that it's going to make your experience here a lot more enjoying, and you're going to build networks that you have no idea how powerful and amazing they're going to come here, like how they come in handy later on. So 10 years ago, I went to college for the first time, and I did not get connected, right? Like I went to school, I went to class, and then I left. I did my homework at home, and I didn't spend any time on campus, and I didn't join any clubs or do any activities, and I didn't make a single friend, right? And my grades weren't that good because when I missed something in class, I had nobody to ask about it, right? I had no one to study with. I didn't end up even finishing the degree, like I stopped going, right? So when I came back this time, I was determined to not do that again. And you know, when I got to UW-Bothell, like my biggest fear was that I didn't belong here, right? That's what I was worried about. I was afraid because, 5 years ago I was homeless. I had a serious drug problem, right? And now I'm in recovery. So I came here and I was thinking how am I going to disguise myself as someone who belongs in college, right? What I discovered was I do belong here, right? We all belong here. That is what makes this campus so tremendous, is the fact that it's so welcoming. You will build relationships. So one of the ways, or many of the ways you can do that, are joining a club. To join the Law Society, right? My closest friends have been the people in that club. People that I will stay in contact with as we go on about our lives. One of them is in Olympia doing the legislative internship. One of them is Moses. He's going to UW school. I should let you tell because that's cool. But we're both going to law school, 2 different ones, right? But our careers will cross each other, and that's a friendship developed through a club here at UWB. I would also say, don't be afraid to jump in and sign up for things. Bold Women's Leadership Camp, when you see that come around, tremendous experience, right? I went and spent the weekend, you know, and I didn't know what I was doing. I started applying for everything, and then I started getting into everything, and I was like, whoa, I need to slow down, you know? And so I went to the Bold Camp, and the women, they bring in like 30 executives, successful CEO women, and they come and tell you, like, how they made it, you know, what they did, like the skills that they have, right? And that was where I discovered that, like, I wasn't so much different than them, right? Because I have the same ambition. If you have the drive, the energy, the ambition, like, you can go anywhere. It doesn't matter, like, where you came from, right? So I went and did that, and when I left there, I immediately started sending out network requests to all those women, right? 2 years later, I post on LinkedIn, you know, that I got into law school, and those are the women that are congratulating me. The women I met at that camp 2 years ago, right? The Washington, D.C. seminar trip, I did that, right? For me, study abroad wasn't an option because I have kids. You know, if you can study abroad, absolutely you should do it. I have many friends that have, and it's been wonderful. But the DC trip is a great in-between if you can't leave for a month. You know what I mean? It's a week-long trip, and you go and buy some suits, and you get on the plane, and you get to go to think tanks, the State Department, you go to embassies, you go to, you know, see people at the Senate, you meet your legislators. It was absolutely incredible, right? And the paper, you know, that I wrote for that class, it was like my crown jewel of my capstone portfolio, you know, at the end of my 2 years. So that's another activity. The club, the class at the prison, you know what I mean? When you look back in your college experience, you're not going to be like, I remember that day in the EIS 300. You're going to be like, I remember that trip, or I remember that camp out. I remember singing songs at the bonfire at the Bold Camp, right? These are the experiences that you're going to put on your resume. These are the experiences that you're going to remember, right? So that's my message. Like, get connected and don't be afraid to jump in and try different stuff, even if it's not your thing. You know, the art class, I didn't think that was my thing. And I enjoyed it, and I loved it, and now it's part of my life, you know, and I'm like working with people in Olympia on bringing mentors into the prison, all because I took that class. So, you know, network, jump in, get connected, and enjoy it. You guys are really lucky to have 4 years here. Like, I believe in 58 days, and it, like, I feel like crying sometimes because it's been absolutely wonderful. So, yep.
The bottle should pay you. That was amazing. All right, thank you. So she spoke about a lot of different experiences, and one of the things we do at Law Society is finding ways to connect you to those experiences and kind of telling you, like, we're all students, so we've been taking all of the same professors as you have, or will take a professors that you've been taking in classes and stuff like that, so we have an inside scoop on, like, what you should do in those classes, what programs you should enter, and it's really a great resource. Just super quickly, what are the main functions of the Law Society to get you into law school? So we help students do the whole process and take certain steps to get through law school or get prepared for law school. Right now you guys are freshmen/sophomores, so you have almost nothing to do. It's just a matter of gauging whether that's what you want to do in 2 years. This I can send you later on. I'm just going to skip past it because we're running short on time. So what majors do law schools accept? Yeah?
All.
All of them? Dang. That was so quick. Okay, so last year I asked that question, and it was like 10 minutes of like, well, I think educational studies. No, it really is all of them. And what's great is that they will take whatever you're passionate about. As long as you're passionate about it, you can literally do anything you want. And that's what law schools want to see. The most important thing also, besides your passion, that shows is your GPA and your LSAT score. So here's some examples of classes that you can take or that are related to law at the school. We have Intro to Law. We have anything in the LEPP program, which is Law, Economics, and Public Policy. The Human Rights minor. Me, myself, I'm a Human Rights minor and Law, Economics, and Public Policy major, but really you can do anything. And we also have programs like the Baltimore Youth Court, the DC seminar that Crystal mentioned, and a bunch of other ones. It's all here on campus, and it's just a matter of going into it. Some teachers who are related to law, and you're not on here, which sucks. I think this is outdated.
Where's the respect? Where's the respect?
Well, I'm saving the best for last.
Better
Some
have my own
teachers who
slide.
teach law. Some teachers who teach law. Gavin Doyle, Stuart Streichler, yeah. Karen Dunn, Jessica West, Leanne Wang, Neil Walsh, Bruce Coaches, and most importantly, the best law teacher and policy teacher, Denise Vaughn.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So those are some teachers who can help you out, kind of figure out what classes you want to take with them and stuff like that. We also try to make you join other clubs because it's really helpful. The debate society is number one. There's so much, yeah, okay, we can talk about it in 10 minutes, but there's so much, what's the word for it? So much connection between debate and law and policy that it's just the best thing to do. There's internships with the King County Bar Association that we've connected with this year. And it's really just about, if you don't like those things, it's really about being a leader in anything. So anything that you want to take your heart to, if you're social justice, whatever, just go into that and take one or two of them, and you should be completely good. All right, any questions? Yeah,
So you got into UW Law?
yeah. Oh, I skipped my story. So,
Yay.
yeah, I got into UW Law.
Wow.
I bribed my way in.
Your major was LEPD.
Yes. So I started off taking Gavin Doyle's Making a Legal Case, which is like a mock trial class, like learning how a court works and pretending you're a lawyer and yelling at people and cross-examinations. And I was like, whoa, I'm terrible at this. But I like it, so I kept doing it. And I took Intro to Law and then Intellectual Property Law and all these different law classes. Fell in love with it, kept doing it. I became president of the Law Society. And then I think through that was like one of the major things that got me into UW Law School. I'm not even kidding. Like, I had a good GPA in LSAT, but I had someone who had an even better GPA in LSAT. And the only difference between me and her was that I had connections at the law school. So one thing that we do with Law Society is like I'll have events with them. With the law school, we'll do admissions, info sessions, mentorship programs, different things like that. And because they knew my name, because I worked with them for such a long time, it was very easy for them to say, yeah, we'll accept you into UW Law School versus this person who has way better grades than you know? So I really recommend joining this club if that's what you guys want to do, and taking those leadership positions. I'll be honest with you, this is my last quarter, so I'm just going to, full disclosure, I hand out positions like candy. So if you want a position at Law Society, it's really like, it's just a matter of you like, coming up to me. You can literally, it's just a guy with the yarmulke, I'm the one person on campus. Just walk up to me, or send me an email, and we'll figure something out and help you out. So yeah, like events happening at Law Society, we have the mentorship program with the UW Law Moot Honor Court Board, which is one of the things I was talking about. So UW Law School has a special mock trial club that's called the Moot Honor Court Board. I'm like dumbing it down. They had a community service wing, and they decided to start mentoring students from here. And so we have a lot of connections with different students there. They look at our personal statements, resumes, stuff like that. They're just there to help you out. And we also do LSAT events, like we're going to have an LSAT intro prep test. Now this is still in the air. It should be happening this month, but we want to choose a date that works for everyone. So if you feel like doing an LSAT prep test, kind of trying it out, feeling it out, kind of seeing what it's like, just shoot us a message, shoot us an email, there you go. Shoot us an email at lsu@uw.edu, and we'll let you know what we can do. Generally, if you guys are not up for any of that, we have weekly meetings from 10 to 11 in LB2 318. So that's the third floor of the library and like the corner, and then, yeah, we'll figure it out. It'll be great. Any questions? Yeah.
What do you want to do as a lawyer? Like what path do you want to take?
I'm really, really interested in intellectual property law. Like I took that class here, and that's like trademarking and licensing and copyright. And I feel like it was the most fun. Like, you know how Disney bought Spider-Man from Sony? I was like, I can do that. I'm a huge nerd, so I got really excited. So like if I can combine my nerdship with law, intellectual property is the way to go. So that's what I want to do. And also I won't cry at night because I divorced people or something. I just want to do that. Yeah.
Do you have any people interested in pursuing paralegal programs? And
Say that again, sorry?
are there any like aspiring paralegals in the law club?
Yes. We had 2 last year. They just graduated. They think they went on to do a paralegal program. One of the interesting things about being a paralegal is that you don't necessarily have to go to school for it. There's no like official documentation that you have to like get, but it's still nice. So we do programming for that too. It's a really flexible club. Like if we have someone who's interested in paralegal, like we'll make events like how to be a paralegal or something. We'll invite a couple paralegals to talk about it. So whatever you want. 4:33. So we're gonna give it to the